McDonald's meal.
People want you to explain, and I've seen a lot of people try to explain this because I'm confused by it. What is the difference between a leftist and a liberal?
I mean, these distinctions are silly, but
That's what I think. Okay, thank you. Moving on.
But for overall, like a liberal is, I mean, there's a fundamental difference between liberals and leftists, I guess.
Am I a lib?
It's arbitrary, so it's it's made up concept. But if you were to put boundaries on it, it would be like being anti-capitalist versus being pro-capitalist. But I also consider social democrats who are capitalist to, at the very least, in the Western world, be a part of the entry point into leftist politics.
So wait, why can't I be a lib and be cool?
Liberalism is a political ideology, literally revolves around the defense of private property that was created through enclosures, property that needs to be defended with the threat of violence from the state. And leftists don't really care about private property. You can have personal property. You can have a home. Obviously, no one's like saying you shouldn't be able to have your own home, your own toothbrush or anything like that, or your car. But the defense of private property that you purchase, capital.
You're not
in
favor of private property?
I think that society would be better off if people had personal property, like a home, a nice home, a mansion, a castle, if you want to fucking live in one. Who cares?
Difference?
Versus, capital accumulation. So the difference between private and personal property is like this. A home that you live inside of, that you bought for your family or whatever, is personal property. A home that you purchase specifically with the interest of like renting it out to other people, so that it's like investments that will accumulate value for you without you even touching it, really. That's private property.
So who builds like office spaces?
I don't consider that to be as problematic.
You're just talking about family homes.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I agree with that.
I'm giving you the basics. Like, obviously, it's not. There are. This is not black and white.
Okay, so leftists hate people with two houses, and libs like people with two houses.
No, that's not true either. I think that's like saying technically, capital ownership means like any kind of stock purchase, right? If you have stocks, if you have any kind of stocks, you're technically owning capital. You have a very tiny fracture of ownership in a corporation that you will never see, that is like far away from you, that you don't even know you have ownership over half the time. But obviously, I'm not against 401ks. That would be insane. I tell people all the time, you have to have a nest egg, like, because socialism or leftism doesn't mean you fucking die when you are no longer a productive laborer.
So I'll tell you, I agree with that, because if there was no stock market, I'd be a lot richer right now.
Because you lost a lot.
Yeah, like I'm totally in favor of getting rid of the stock market, bro.
I mean, I think that a system that's reliant on a debtor's economy, a system that's reliant on the stock market, yields these inevitable outcomes that we look at and see as bad, immoral, wrong. Companies, a great example I always use is when a company eliminates redundancies, right? They're just firing like half the fucking workforce.
Yeah.
But the stock price is good. The stock price improves usually when a company does an elimination of redundancies because it's now more efficient. But that does not reflect well on the people that were fired and the people that remain at the company who now have to do the workload of two people because they're fearful that they might get fired as well. So that is things like that are at the heart of an economy that centers itself around capital accumulation.
Okay.
Like every part of the inequality that you see.
What's an ethical way for you as someone who makes a lot of money to use your surplus money?
I just use it on myself, and I give a lot to charities and shit.
Right, but surely you have a lot left over.
I do, yeah.
So what's an ethical thing to do? Just keeping it for yourself is fine?
Nothing. Like I don't really spend much other than just like.
Well, I'm not asking you what you do with it. I'm just like theoretically.
Theoretically, what could you do? I mean, I basically do what I've been doing, but at a larger scale now. You know what I mean? Try to support union funds, do fundraisers, and reinvest it into my own business, I guess, technically. But even then, it's like I just go off vibes.
Vibes. Okay, so lefties prefer vibes over all things.
Not this is just my own personal perspective on the matter.
Well, I like vibes.
It's a vibe right now.
No, I am a capitalist, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know.
But we all are.
I would say that you are more in line with social democracy than anything else. Like you,
100%.
You're very much like if America was like Norway, it would be infinitely better. If we had like robust social safety nets, if education was equal as possible, public education was funded adequately, and everybody had, social security, better labor protections, better labor unions, people weren't getting fucked over, free healthcare.
That's my perfect society.
And the nationalization of the extraction industries, especially like in Norway, is pretty helpful for the economy overall. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people's starting position, and I love that. I think you're infinitely to the left of 98% of America when you fucking advocate for that. So you're definitely the most radical socialist by Democratic Party standards.
Okay, good.
When you advocate for things like that.
Great. I mean, I did just donate $10,001 to.
Well, donations are not socialism.
That makes me a lefty. And also a very generous person.
The one thing I will say, though, is that Norway and capitalist social democracies still do have issues. I'm a believer as a revisionist that you can, through slow reforms, at least try to improve the living conditions of workers all around the world. And one fundamental problem with social democracies in Europe is that they are still heavily reliant on, the protection of the imperial state, the United States of America. They're heavily reliant on the extraction of natural resources from the third world, just like we all are. That is definitely still a part of global capitalism thriving. The conflict minerals, everything else that you steal from Africa and the rest of the global South. These are things that we don't even think about, but are very much rooted within our capitalist existence and the mode of production.